Hedge is renaming Hedge, not the company, the app. It's now called Offshoot and Offshoot Pro.
This is a CineD Gear News video, supported by B&H and CVP.
Here's CineD. My name is Nino. I'm here at NAB 2023 with Paul from Hedge. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Haven't seen you in half a year. Now we are back in Vegas. So Hedge actually has a lot of big news. One of them being that the original Hedge app has a different name.
Yeah. A few weeks from now, we're renaming Hedge into Offshoot. There was quite some confusion throughout the years that Hedge was the company, but also the app. And we wanted to fix that, so we're renaming the app into Offshoot. And not only that, we're giving it a complete new licensing system. Licensing adds a lot of friction to your process, where you need to deactivate a license and move it to another machine. So we're going to change that around with the new Offshoot. You can activate as many computers as you have, and it will figure out which ones you can use at the same time, depending on the amount of activations you have on your license. So
that's nice. So it's not always giving you a warning, actually this is already...
No, it will tell you, if you just have one activation, it will tell you, hey, it's in use on this machine, do you want to override that? Yeah, and then you can just pull it to your own machine. Perfect. And even if that machine is offline. So that should remove all friction in licensing. And we're rolling that out to all the other apps in the year. Another big change to Offshoot is that we're splitting Hedge into two versions, Offshoot and Offshoot Pro.
You mean you're splitting Offshoot?
We're offshooting Offshoot.
Okay, so there's two versions, a normal version and the Pro version. Yeah. What's the difference?
Well, as Hedge matured so much, a lot of the new stuff we're building isn't actually useful to the 80%, but to the 20% of the users. And they eat up a lot of the support as well, and the development cost, of course. And we think it's fair that the 80% doesn't carry that burden financially. So we're moving scripting and codec support into a Pro version together with the API. The biggest change is that we're releasing native S3 support, which we built together with AWS to allow you to offload to local drives and to cloud drives in the same way, complete with verification, which doesn't really exist in a cloud context. So we work together with AWS to actually make that work. So with Offshoot Pro, you can actually have the Netflix best practices in place with a cloud drive. So that should make it much easier for people to start using a cloud that isn't locked into a certain vendor.
So now you can mount a cloud drive from Amazon, the Amazon AWS service, like a drive.
Yes, exactly.
In Hedge, and basically use it as if it was a real drive.
Yeah, and of course there are apps that already do that, like Forklift and Cyberduck, but they mount it as a file system. And S3 is object storage, that's definitely not meant to be used as a file system, so that's very dangerous to do. So we worked with AWS on a way to virtualize the S3, a bit like how LTO works with LTFS, same thing. You can browse through it, but only when you start pushing data, we actually make the connection.
And you mentioned that this is now Netflix certified, or because it's S3?
Well, it's Netflix certified because Offshoot Pro is Netflix certified. They have best practices in place that you need to adhere to. There's only 4 apps in the world that can do that in the offload and ingest context. Yeah. And Offshoot Pro is the only one that can do cloud uploads with that.
Okay, great. Talking about the differences between the two, you mentioned you took out codec support because that's really just for, I guess, 1% of your users, and scripting, which is automation. Yeah. So where do we stand in different pricing licensing models? Like, how much is it a monthly subscription? Is it an annual subscription? And where do they differ?
We don't do any subscriptions. The only subscription we currently have is PostLab. We're actually going to scrap that. PostLab is going to be a license later this year when we release a new PostLab. So Hedge used to be a perpetual purchase license that you could renew every year if you wanted more updates. We're going to stick to that, but then together with that license model change to having a floating license, it's going to be just the same price for the regular Offshoot, and then Offshoot Pro is about 50% more expensive. So still very affordable, no lock-ins, no subscriptions, just a single purchase.
Okay, great. Anything else you want to mention?
What we also did not on the production side, but on the post-production side, is that we acquired Mimic last year and completely rebuilt that app to bring bin locking to basically every Avid editor that doesn't have a Nexus. And we're upping the ante now, because that used to work only with shared storage, like a Nexus is. But we're releasing a new feature to a Mimic called Workspaces, which allow you to turn any type of storage into a network share that is recognized by Avid. So you can use a SAN if you have a Quantum Store Next, of course, but also your RAID and your local internal SSD. And of course, if you use your internal SSD, there's not much use to using the bin locking part because you're not collaborating, but you do get Avid's media management that comes with the Nexus, and that's very useful, I think.
Okay, great. And when is this being rolled out?
Coming weeks. It's all coming in the coming weeks after NAB. We're releasing it basically in a week.
Thank you, Paul. That's very comprehensive. Good luck at the show. I mean, it just started. We're here on the first day. And
I have one more thing.
one more thing? Okay, that's like Steve Jobs. Go for it.
It's actually a freebie to all PostLab users. We're doing a integration with ColorLab AI. We think that's a great piece to really bring color management to end users in an easy way. And so far, if you use ColorLab AI with Final Cut Pro, everybody on the team needed a license. With the integration that we're doing with PostLab, it means that everybody on the team gets a plugin where they can use and see the metadata ColorLab AI generates, which means you only need one person on the team to do the grading, and then all the editors can benefit and see the results of that live.
Oh, that's brilliant. Just one license necessary.
One license in the team, and you have ColorLab for your whole team.
Nice, very nice. Cool. Curious to try that out, actually. I love ColorLab.
Really nice.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Paul. Good luck for the rest of the days.
Thanks a lot.
And
Same to you.
yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to CineD for a lot more gear news videos like this one from the NAB 2023 show floor. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks.